A Texas factory is now being described at a scale so large it could outsize every building on Earth. That alone tells you how intense the AI infrastructure race has become. Welcome to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition, the podcast created by generative AI. It's August 12th, 2026, and I'm Trent Teller. Today, Google posts a huge Gemini milestone. The AI boom starts to look a lot more like a finance story, and we have notable moves in space, cybersecurity, and industrial decarbonization. This episode is brought to you by Stock MVP. Stock MVP helps you invest like the pros using data-driven insights. Find the link in the episode notes. We'll start with consumer AI, where Google says Gemini has reached 1 billion monthly active users. That count refers to people using the Gemini app or web interface directly, not the much larger group that encounters Gemini features sprinkled across Google's other products. Even with that narrower definition, it's a striking number and a reminder that distribution matters just as much as model quality in this market. Google also says more than 100 million of those users are on iPhone, which shows Gemini is not simply writing Android defaults. The catch is that scale does not automatically mean long-term dominance. Questions remain around release pace, talent retention, and how well Gemini stacks up against top rivals in areas like coding. Staying with AI, the build-out behind all of this is getting bigger and more financially complicated. In a new development on the Texas factory story we've been following, Elon Musk's planned Terafab project is now being described as a site of more than 100 million square feet, with an estimated cost of nearly $17 billion and a request for tax incentives. Local criticism is growing alongside the scale. At the same time, analysts are warning that the wider AI infrastructure boom is starting to resemble a speculative build cycle, with hyperscalers leaning harder on debt and new financing structures. Nvidia is also becoming part of that story by helping support funding for AI factories. In plain terms, the industry is no longer just betting on better models. It is betting enormous amounts of money that demand will arrive fast enough to justify the concrete, power, and chips now being committed. There's also a broader shift underway in software development. AI tools are starting to act less like assistants and more like operators. One line of work shows that when an AI repo repair system moves from handling one task at a time to running several jobs in parallel, the real challenge becomes reliability. The speed-up can be dramatic, but only if teams solve for cleanup, job ownership, retries, and limits so the agent doesn't create a bigger mess while trying to help. Another perspective argues that good coding agents are making it worthwhile to turn more kinds of work into software workflows, including hardware design tasks like PCB layout. The bigger takeaway is that agentic development is becoming practical, but the hard part is no longer generating code. It's building safe systems around that code generation. On security, Vercel's CTO is making a fairly direct argument. Teams should stop waiting for some future breakthrough and start using current AI models to audit their systems now. The reasoning is that the same capabilities helping researchers probe software can also help defenders identify weak points faster. Recent security incidents in the AI ecosystem have added weight to that view, and Vercel says its own testing found models could already explore attack surfaces and write useful fuzzing tools. The message here is not that AI replaces security engineers. It's that the bar has moved. If attackers can use these tools, defenders probably need to use them too. In space, Skyroot's Vikram 1 has become the first privately built Indian rocket to reach orbit. That is a milestone for one company, but it matters more broadly because it suggests India's commercial launch sector is finally moving from promise to proof. The more important question now is, what comes next? A single successful flight opens the door, but a sustainable industry depends on repeat launches, clearer rules, and a wider ecosystem around manufacturing, services, and financing. It's a meaningful moment, with a reminder that industrial capability and regulatory support still need to mature together. And finally, a quick note from industrial tech. JCB says it has set a new world land speed record for a hydrogen-powered vehicle. On its own, a speed record can sound like a stunt, but this one has a more practical message behind it. JCB is using the run to argue that hydrogen combustion could play a role in decarbonizing heavy machinery, a category where batteries are not always the easiest fit. That makes this less about bragging rights and more about visibility for an alternative energy path in construction and other hard-to-electrify industries. Thanks to our sponsor, CrispCall. CrispCall provides agentic cloud telephony for modern businesses. Find the link in the episode notes. That's the tech news for today, August 12th, 2026. If one theme connects these stories, It's scale, bigger AI audiences, bigger infrastructure bets, and bigger questions about what becomes practical next. Thanks for listening to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition.